Hey everyone, Jonathan Shaw here with another Facebook Live, and this is Why Mental Health is Getting Worse, Part 3. Why Mental Health is Getting Worse, Part 3. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you, if you watched the previous videos, 1 and 2, then we talked about the belief that it's not possible for mental health to get better. That was part 1. And in part 2, we discussed the misunderstanding about mental health and why that's not getting any better. And in this video, we're going to discuss the techniques that are being used today to solve mental health, because that's the third reason why mental health is getting worse today, because we're not using the right techniques to solve it. So things like talk therapies, where you sit and talk about the problem, are not going to work to solve mental health. Generally what they do is they maintain and control mental health. They're not actually getting rid of the problem or solving the problem at all. They're just maintaining it. And what we want to do is we want to get rid of it. I didn't want my mental health. I didn't want to suffer with depression. I wanted to be free of it once and for all, so I could think positively. I could think clearly. I could wake up in the day and enjoy the day without feeling down or low or depressed or miserable. I wanted to see a point to life, whereas in the past, when I was depressed, I didn't see a point to life. And the third reason is that we're not using the right techniques. Now, I learned lots of techniques to begin with to try and solve my depression. I did go to CBT counselling, I did do EFT and matrix reimprinting and something called theta healing, and I did lots and lots of techniques. And sometimes it wasn't the technique that was the problem, it was simply the approach to it that was the problem. As I discussed in part 2 of this, you need a new understanding of why we have depression. So once you've got the new understanding, which is that depression is a biological response, which again we spoke about in part 2, then you need a way to clear it. You need a way to change the response. And talking about it isn't going to work. And the reason is because talk therapy only works on a very logical level. Now, if you did get rid of your depression by going to a counsellor, that's fantastic, and I'm really thrilled for you. But that's because your depression was only at a very low level and the logic was able to override it. It wasn't a huge high intensity, your logic was able to kick in. But if your logic's not able to kick in, then a talk therapy is not going to solve it. What you need to do is you need a system which is going to directly switch off the biological response. So you need to find the biological response in the body and switch it off so that once it's gone, you no longer feel that way. And a logical approach cannot address a biological response. It's not possible. So if counselling hasn't worked for you, if psychology hasn't worked for you, or any talk therapy, it's for that reason. Not because counselling and psychology doesn't work, but they will only work when it's a logical response. When it's not, when it's biological, that's when you need something deeper. That's when you need another technique. And there are many great techniques out there that do that. EFT is one of them, matrix reimprinting, theta healing, advanced clearing energetics, NLP, lots and lots. But for me, I tried lots and they didn't work fully for me. They weren't getting to the root of some problems. And there was a reason for that. And through my journey of solving my own depression, I discovered why that was. It wasn't just because of a biological response, it was because there was guilt and shame in there, which I didn't know about. It's because there were micro beliefs in there which I didn't know about. It's because my brain was having a million thoughts a second. I had no way to switch those thoughts off. And it's because they were being triggered as well by things in my environment which again I didn't know were there until I discovered the DTO system and how to switch things off. So if you're struggling with depression, it's not because you can't solve it. It's not because it can't be got rid of. It's basically because A, you need to believe, as we discussed in part 1, that you can solve your depression. You need to understand from part 2 that it's a biological response. It's not logical or emotional. And part 3, this video, it's about using the right technique. Now again, many people solve their depression with EFT and matrix and things like that, and that's fantastic. But if you're struggling and you can't, then maybe DTO is the right system for you. And I'm excited to announce that very shortly there will be a free video training on my website walking you through the basic DTO process so you can start learning to do it yourself and start clearing a lot of the limiting thoughts and beliefs and memories that are holding you back, because it's very, very simple. The beauty of the DTO system is you don't need to understand anything, you don't need to understand why the brain the way it is or where it comes from. You just need to start switching things off to feel better. But from this video, what I want you to take from it, if you're suffering with depression, if you're suffering with anxiety or anything like that, it's not you can't solve it, but you're probably not using the right therapy. Because most people, they just go to counselling or go to CBT or they go to psychotherapy or take medication, and none of these therapies are addressing the biological response. And that's why they haven't worked. It's not because they don't work. They address logic. They address the chemicals. You need to address the biological response. This was a really quick video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you know anyone suffering with depression, anxiety, please share it. Please pass it on so that they can listen to it and hopefully see why they're suffering and they no longer need to suffer, because you really don't need to suffer with depression any longer. It can be resolved, it can be got rid of, and with the right technique, with the right understanding and the right belief that you can resolve it, you can do anything, but you can certainly get rid of your depression. If you have any questions, then please leave comments below. Until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you very soon. Take care of yourselves, guys. Bye.